Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Hi.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll try and finish this chapter, acidity and basicity. This is important because in many reactions in organic chemistry, you will realize that you can think of them in terms of an acid-base reaction. Okay.
Mhm.
So there will be competing reactants, and might be multiple bases, multiple acids, and you have to decide which is the strongest acid and the strongest base, because that will be the most important reaction.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So if you're able to decide that, then you will be able to say what is the principal product of a reaction. Okay.
Mhm.
Because each of the competing reaction might give something else, and if you can know the acidity, basicity, nature of those compounds, then it will be useful to predict what is the outcome of the reaction. Okay.
yeah,
So we already know basic things about acids and bases. We have studied that in general chemistry, and we know that every acid has its conjugate base. Every acid has a conjugate base and vice versa. And we know the relationship that the weaker the acid, the stronger the
Stronger
conjugate
conjugates.
base, and so on, right?
Yes.
So this we already know. So we will ignore the first few pages of the chapter, which we probably already know. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, one thing that is important is on page 170, page 170, last paragraph, that says the choice of the solvent is important and it limits the pKa range that we can use. So what does he mean by that? He's saying in water we can measure the pKa of an acid only if the acid does not completely protonate water to give H3O plus, or
Mhm.
completely deprotonate it to give OH minus, right? So
Yeah.
basically what happens is, if there is a very strong acid, what it will do is it will donate H plus to water and make H3O plus, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
So H3O plus will act as the acid now for any other compound that is mixed in that, or in that water, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
H3O plus is going to provide H plus now, because acid dissociated and became H3O plus. And since water is the solvent, H3O plus is the more dominantly present acid now, right?
right, yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
So he's saying we are restricted roughly to pH minus 1.7 to 15.7, beyond which water is more than 50% protonated or deprotonated. Basically, what it means is, again, if you take a very strong base, right?
Mhm.
Correct. Take a
Yeah.
very strong base, then OH minus is the strongest base that you can find in water solution,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
right? It will give a OH minus, right? Finally, after that, nothing can be done, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
cannot find a base stronger than OH minus in water, because otherwise it will just deprotonate water only,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
yeah,
So that is what he's saying. The strengths of acids or bases we can use in any solvent is limited by the acidity and basicity of the solvent itself, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Think of it this way, he's saying, say you want to remove the proton from a compound with a high pKa. High pKa means low acidity.
No offense.
So say 25-30 is the pKa for some compound, and you want to remove the proton from there, right?
Hmm.
Or
yeah,
basically make it behave like an acid, right?
Like an acid. Yeah.
Right? He's saying it would be impossible to do this in water, since the strongest base we can use is hydroxide, right? OH
Mhm.
minus. If
Yeah.
you add a base stronger than hydroxide, it won't deprotonate your compound. It will just deprotonate water
Water. Yeah.
and make hydroxide anyway,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
yeah,
So basically, the major reaction is always between the stronger acid and the stronger base. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
So now what happens here is that if you want to uh, take out H from this compound and pKa is 25, right?
Hmm.
It is a very weak acid then, very weak acid
Right.
actually, right?
Right.
So you need a very strong base to take out H plus from here, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Right. But what happens is, that strong base, if you add, it will actually just
Reacts with
react with
water.
water. It will actually first react with this, because OH minus will be formed here and it will deprotonate water instead. Basically, what
yeah.
it means is basically water is a stronger acid than HA, right? Here,
Right, yeah.
because water's pKa is lower than 25,
25. Yeah.
right?
Right.
So therefore, the choice of solvent is very important, and that restricts the strength of the acid or base that you can use in the solution, right?
Yeah.
So he's saying, let's take acetylene as an example. Acetylene has pKa 25. This is remarkably low for a hydrocarbon, but even so, hydroxide, the strongest base we could have in aqueous solution, pKa 15.7, OH minus basically, would establish an equilibrium where only 1 in 10 to the power 9.3, or about 1 in 2 billion ethyne molecules are deprotonated, right? Like ethyne, if you add OH minus to it, very few anions will be found where ethyne is losing an H plus, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We cannot use a stronger base than hydroxide, since no matter what strong base we dissolve in water, we will only at best get hydroxide ions, right? So in order to deprotonate ethyne to any appreciable extent, suppose you wanted to find that ethyne anion, right? And you wanted to get it to some appreciable extent, you will have to change from water as a solvent to something else as a solvent, right?
Right, yeah.
One that does not have a pKa less than 25, right? Its pKa, solvent's pKa should be greater than 25. Then that ethyne will be the stronger acid and will react with the base that you use,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So this part you should understand. So therefore, sometimes you have to use different solvents. And for example, to do this, you will use NaNH2 liquid in liquid ammonia, because peak AA value for NH3 is around 33, right? So now this reaction is possible. Now this reaction can happen, right? Because NH2 minus has been added, and NH2 minus will take NH from the stronger acid, which is ethyne, rather than NH3, right?
Right, yeah, yeah.
So now the solvent is liquid ammonia. So the candidates to compete for that, to lose an H plus, right, are this and this, right? And you have a NH2 minus acting as a strong base. So now here, it will take it from here rather than here, right? Because this pKa is 33 and this pKa is 25, right?
Right, yeah.
So this part you need to be clear on. It is a subtle thing. So you cannot just randomly add any acid and things will happen as you expect, right? You have to decide what is the solvent, what is more stronger acid, where will the reaction happen, right?
Yeah.
So since we have an upper limit and lower limit on the strength of acid or base that we can use in water, this poses a bit of a problem. How do we know that pKa for HCl is more negative than that of H2SO4 if both will completely protonate water, right? Like, how do you know that which is stronger acid and all, right? If both the acids are super strong and all, both will protonate water, right?
Yeah.
So basically, how do we know that pKa of methane is greater than that of ethyne, since both conjugate bases fully deprotonate water, right? The answer is that we cannot simply measure the equilibrium for the reaction in water. We can do this only for pKa values that fall between the pKa values of water itself, right? So only for those substances whose pKa value falls between minus 1.7 to 15 point something, you can actually measure acidity, basicity in water. So the way outside this range, if there is some material, right, with pKa values beyond this range, right,
Yeah.
then you have to use other solvents to get its pKa. You have to use other solvents, and then you can sort of extrapolate from there to what it should have been in water and all. Right? Okay. So now what we'll look at is acid strength in detail, and mostly the focus will be looking at certain organic compounds and seeing their acidities and all, right? So some basic principles for acid strength are, the more stable your anion, the more stable the A minus anion, the better the acid, right? Stronger the acid, then, because that pushes the equilibrium to the right, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
equilibrium is this. H plus A minus, right? So this equilibrium will be pushed to the right if this is more stable, right? Second thing is the strength of HA bond, strength of this bond. If bond is weak, then it will be better acid.
Yeah.
Bond is weak implies stronger acid, right?
Yeah.
That is also important. Third is there could be some electronegative element present in the A minus. Electronegative element in A minus, which will stabilize the A minus, right? In A minus, which stabilizes the anion by an inductive effect, right?
Yeah.
By an inductive effect, right? So inductive effect basically means it pulls the electrons towards itself, right?
Yeah.
And since it is electronegative, it can hold the electrons much more easily. So in that case, the A minus is more stable than if it was not electronegative, right?
Yeah.
Also, you can also stabilize A minus by conjugation, right? Conjugation we have seen in the previous chapter.
Yeah.
When your double bonds can switch position and all, right?
Yeah.
A minus can be stabilized by conjugation as well, where basically the charge is delocalized over the whole anion, right?
Yeah.
Charge is delocalized over the whole anion. So that is also a possible way in which you can increase the acidity of the acid. Right? So we will see all of these effects. Now, for example, page 121, last table that you see, he's talking about the acidity of methane, ammonia, water, and hydrogen fluoride, right?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, hydrogen fluoride is most acidic because the fluoride ion is most, fluorine is more electronegative, right? So
Yeah.
fluoride ion is better able to hold that negative charge, right?
Yeah.
So that is more stable. And the order is basically that carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, which one can hold the negative charge best, right? So as you go to the right in a periodic table, your ability to handle that negative charge increases, and therefore the acidity increases in this relationship, right?
Yeah.
Then weak AH bonds we already know. So the standard comparison for that is HCl, HF, HBr, HI, right? So HF is the strongest weakest acid, and HI is the strongest acid because HI is weakest bond.
Yeah.
HI is the weakest bond. Then you understand that part, no? So that is just bond strength. Right? So then the next table is basically HClO, HClO2, HClO3, and HClO4, right?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the more chlorine atom or the more oxygen atoms you add, the better that charge will be stable, right? Because more oxygen atoms will apply more of those inductive effects, right?
Yeah.
So it will be more stable, that anion. So
Yeah.
also in that perchlorate ion, in the figure that he's showing, you can see that the negative charge is on the oxygen, one of the oxygen, ClO4 minus, right? And it can be distributed over all four oxygens, right?
Yeah.
Because of the whole conjugation thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
Each oxygen is equivalent, and it's not like one of them will be special and hold the negative and the others are forming double bonds, right? Actually, that can be true for all four, right?
Yeah.
So the charge is actually completely delocalized. So it is better acid because of both 3 and both 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we'll start looking at some organic acids. He's saying we might expect alcohols to have a pKa not far from that of water. And for ethanol, that is correct. Why do we expect that? Because water also has an OH, right?
Yeah.
Water also has an OH bond, and this bond will break when water behaves like an acid, right?
Right. Yeah.
Or basically H3O plus it will become, and H3O plus will lose that H plus.
Yeah.
And alcohol is also OH. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Alcohol is also OH, so similar it is. So therefore, you will expect that the acidity should also be similar. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So for ethanol, the acidity is very close to that of water. Now he's saying if we allow the charge in the conjugate base to be delocalized over 2 oxygen atoms, as in acetate, right?
Yeah.
Acetic acid is indeed a much stronger acid. The difference is huge. Conjugation makes acetic acid about 10 power 10 times more strong, right? So, what is he comparing? What are the two molecules he's comparing? One molecule is CH3, CH2, OH,
Oh,
which is an alcohol, and one molecule is CH3, C double bond O, OH, right? So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
only difference is that there is a double bond O here and there were two hydrogens here.
yeah.
Correct. Now, in this case, the charge would have been only on that minus. When it loses a proton,
Oh, yeah,
charge would
yeah,
only be
yeah.
on one O, right?
Right, yeah.
However, in this case, it is obviously stabilized by conjugation,
Both of them.
right? You
Right.
could have
Yeah.
a double bond here or a double bond here, right?
Yeah.
So this makes it almost 10 power 10 times more strong than this. The pKa of this is 15.9, whereas the pKa of this is 4.8, right?
Yeah.
So this is a logarithmic scale, you know. So the equilibrium is 10 power 10 times more stronger, right?
Right. Right.
Right.
Okay. Now he's saying it is even possible to have a negative charge of an organic acid delocalized over 3 atoms. He has given an example of this methyl sulfonate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the real compound, the main compound is the one in the middle, okay? So S double bond O double bond O, OH, and CH3. This was the major compound. And after losing H plus, it will become this sulfonate ion, methyl sulfonate ion, right? And
Yeah.
clearly
Yeah.
now this can be delocalized everywhere, right?
Yeah.
3, yeah.
3 atoms are there over which it can be delocalized, right? So this will be a strong acid again because its anion has been stabilized very well by 3 delocalization or so several atoms, right?
Right,
Yeah.
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 Okay, so even for hydrocarbons, delocalization will strengthen the acidity. So for example, he's taking the example of cyclohexanol, right? The pKa is 16 and there is an OH bond there. So H plus is lost, then it becomes O minus, but that negative charge is localized on that O, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
However,
Yeah.
for phenol, if you do that, since phenol is in an aromatic ring, right? Once it becomes an O minus, that minus charge is can be delocalized over the whole ring,
Right, yeah, yeah.
right? So basically, it is like this. If it is normally it is a minus charge, but this can become a double bond, and these bonds can shift, right?
It's
Right.
like resonance, right?
It's the same thing. It's
Yeah.
delocalization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you will get double bond O and you'll get this, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Double
Yeah.
bond O and someone will have a minus charge.
Minus charge, yeah.
Someone will have a minus charge.
And one, that pi bond also won't be there.
Which bond will not be there? Wait 1 second. O minus has come, then
The pi bond should be alternate, right? So,
since you are putting a minus charge, you cannot put a double bond also.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
the closest pi bond that goes to the
So so basically this double bond, no, this becomes that minus charge, right?
Minus charge, yeah.
This
Yeah.
comes here, this comes here, and this becomes a double bond,
Yeah.
and this goes to this.
Yeah.
Because obviously if you put a double bond here, this carbon has many more bonds, 5 bonds, right? You cannot put 5
Yeah.
bonds
Yeah,
on this
yeah.
carbon.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
already has 4 bonds, right?
Right.
So it acquires that minus charge. So again, the delocalization of charge has happened. It has gone from being on that external oxygen to part of the ring, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is possible. So this acid, this phenol has pKa of 10. pKa of 10, even though cyclohexanol also was similar structure only, right? The only difference was that could not have done any conjugation and delocalization, right?
Right, yeah.
For cyclohexanol, it was pKa was 16, right?
Yeah.
Everything else was almost same except that it didn't have double bonds, right?
Correct, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So now the basic sequence of acids should be clear more or less. So the sequence of acid will be, as you go from alcohol to carboxylic acids, your acidity increases, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Acidity increases, and this side there will be hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons, in the hydrocarbons, you will realize, we'll discuss soon, that acidity increases from alkane to alkene to alkyne. As you go from alkane to alkene to alkyne, alkyne is triple bond, this is double bond, this is single bond, right?
Yeah.
So acidity will increase like this,
Mhm.
but still it will be less than this,
Yeah.
any alcohol, and alcohols will be less acidic than carboxylic acids.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is the general order. We'll find more compounds and we'll put them in this order. So let's go to the next page. He's talking about nitrogen compounds as acids and bases, right? So
Yeah.
the most important nitrogen compounds are amines and amides. What are amines? Amines are something like RNH2. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
that is an amine, and amides are RCONH2. Amides are C double bond ONH2. Okay, so
Right.
we are going to compare the acidity, acidity of these amines and amides here, right, in this section.
Yeah.
So he's saying they all have lone pairs on nitrogen, right, and may have hydrogen atoms on nitrogen too. Okay, as nitrogen is less electronegative than oxygen, you should expect amines to be less acidic and more basic than alcohols. Amines he's talking about are NH2, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
compare basically RNH2 with ROH, right? There is not much difference here, right? They should be similar. The only difference is N and O, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. So since nitrogen is less electronegative than oxygen, you would expect amines to be less acidic than alcohols.
Right, yeah, yeah.
RNH2 is less acidic than ROH.
Mhm.
Correct? That is what he's saying. Basically, you can say that RNH2 is more basic, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they are. The pKa values for protonated amines are about 10, and this value is about 0 for water and alcohol. So what does he mean by that? So suppose you have an amine, and if you want to make it behave like an acid, you can protonate it RNH3 plus, right? And this compound will behave like an acid and give H plus plus RNH2, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a conjugate acid and this is the base. RNH2 is a conjugate acid and RNH2 is a base, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this acid base equilibrium, right? This equilibrium has a pKa of around 10. Okay.
Right.
On the other hand, if you had a ROH 2 plus, right? And that gave an H plus plus ROH, right? The pKa is 0 almost. So what does this mean? That this is more acidic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More acidic than this,
Hmm.
right? Than this, correct?
Yeah.
So that is what he's saying, that the protonated amines are less acidic than the protonated alcohols. Okay. So what it means is, okay, so what it means is, clearly, see, if this is less acidic, right, then this is more stronger base, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And this is less strong base, right?
Yeah.
Because more powerful acid here. The conjugate is more powerful acid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that just tells you that alcohols are less basic than amines, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So another way to say that would be amines are less acidic than alcohols, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You understand, no?
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
why is he not doing a reaction like this and telling you simply, like, why is he not doing this and RNH minus, right? Because this doesn't ever happen. Like RNH2 will never give H plus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's why he didn't do it. Normally, when you check acidity, basicity, you do a reaction like this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why he didn't do this. He's working with the protonated acid and the protonated thing, because that is more realistic. Like, you will never get H plus from an RNH2.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you can compare the strength of the protonated acid, that will tell you the basicity of this and this, right?
Yeah.
Right. So once you know the relative strengths of basicity of your amine and alcohol, you will be able to say whether which one is more acidic and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So that is why he's doing protonated acids and all. It's not because he just wants to confuse you or anything, because it never will happen that you can directly do RNH2 gives H plus plus RNH minus.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is that. Then, okay, removing a proton from an amine is very difficult, as the anion is very unstable and very basic, right? The only way to succeed is use a very strong base, usually an alkyl lithium, CH3 alide, that type of compound, right? So
Yeah.
he is saying, for example, on the side he has given a reaction. There is a isopropyl, 2-isopropyl NH, right? So that is a diisopropyl amine. Okay, and he is
Yeah.
reacting that with butyl lithium, right? So butyl lithium means that butyl group should see what has happened eventually is N has bonded with the lithium, and butyl group has taken an H and became butane.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and basically H has been lost, right? H plus has been lost, right? Because here this is Bu minus, no? With lithium it will be Bu minus, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
H plus has been lost, so amine has acted like an acid here, but only because butyl lithium is supremely strong base. Only with such a strong base, only a strong base like this could take out an H plus from this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So nitrogen had a positive charge, nitrogen had a negative charge now, and that has combined with the lithium plus, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is what that reaction is telling you. You need to use strong bases like alkyl lithiums to be able to extract an H plus from a amine, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, where is he mentioning the amide stuff? 1 second. Okay, maybe he'll mention it in the next page. No, amides are in
So
the next page. Yeah. So pKa's of bases. So see what he's saying. Chemists often say things like the pKa of trimethylamine is about 10. This may surprise you as triethylamine has no acidic hydrogens. Okay. What they mean, of course, is that the pKa of the conjugate acid of triethylamine is about 10. So what is he saying here? Conjugate acid. So Et3N H plus's pKa is 10. That is what they mean when they say Et3N's pKa is 10.
Yeah.
You understand? Just like here we put a conjugated acid, no? RNH3 plus. So when you say pKa of RNH3 plus is 10, you could also have said amine's pKa is 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, because actually amine will not have H plus to donate. What it will do is make the conjugate acid, and conjugate acid might donate H plus.
Yeah.
So it's okay to say that pKa of triethylamine is about 10 as long as you understand that what is really meant is the pKa of triethylammonium ion is about 10. Right? Which can okay. So this is important to know. Now one thing here is the last line here. Aniline is much less basic than ammonia or triethylamine because the lone pair of nitrogen is conjugated into the ring and less available for protonation. So think about this aniline compound. It is the middle compound. Okay. So there's a benzene group and NH2 on the side, right?
Yeah.
Now, generally, things behave like a base when they are willing to donate their electron pair, right?
Right. Yeah.
Electron pair acceptors are acids and electron pair donors are bases, right?
Yeah.
So if the electron pair on the nitrogen is easily donated to something else, then it will behave like a good base.
Good base. Yeah.
But here what is happening is that electron pair can be conjugated into this structure, right?
Yeah.
Where there is a plus charge on the nitrogen and there is a negative charge inside the anion, right?
Right.
So this conjugation ensures that the electron pair is not so available, right?
Yeah.
So when this aniline accepts an H plus and becomes this conjugate acid of aniline, right? This is not a very strong, basically very strong base, right? Because this reaction does not happen so much. pKa, basically the opposite one is a strong acid, basically.
Yeah.
Generally, RNH3 plus was supposed to be a weak acid, right? And right, correct. It was supposed to be a weak acid because RNH2 was supposed to be fairly basic. But here, aniline is not a strong base; it's a weak base. So the conjugate is a stronger acid.
Yeah.
So see, its pKa value is low, no?
Right. Yeah.
So it's a strong acid as compared to regular values of 10 or something, right? You understand?
Yeah.
So this part is very crucial, and you should try and understand each of the things that he's mentioning in with the diagram and the reaction. Okay. So
Okay.
you should know the logic behind everything. With some practice, it will become easier and easier. But yeah. But for the same reason, aniline is also more acidic than ammonia, which we just discussed, right? When he says aniline is more acidic, he means conjugate acid of aniline, right? And has a genuine pKa in which one of the protons on nitrogen is lost. Okay, that's fine. Next thing, pKa associated for the protonation of piperidine, a typical secondary amine. So it is on the right side is about 13 for the protonation. So pKa is around 13. So it is accepting a proton, right? Becoming NH2 plus, right? Is about 13. equivalent pKa for protonation of pyridine. Now see, look at pyridine. The difference is only in the conjugation between the piperidine structure and the pyridine structure, right? What is the difference? Only the fact that this is not having double bonds and the other one is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So this one, right? This is pyridine and this is piperidine. Okay. Now here also, no, there is no H here. 1 second. There is just a lone pair of electrons.
Yeah.
Right? Now here, if you notice, the transformations of into a conjugate acid, right? So when you accept a proton here, right? You accept a proton here. So this pKa is given to be 5.5, right?
Yeah.
And this pKa was given to be 13, right?
Right, right.
So why is there this difference? That is what we have to figure out, right?
Yeah.
Why is there this difference? Basically, he's saying that this is a much stronger acid, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Much stronger acid. That means this is a much weaker base. Okay, wait. This is a much weaker acid. What am I saying? When pK is high, it's a weaker acid. No?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Much weaker acid, and this is a much stronger base then, right? Correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
This
Yeah.
amine is much stronger base than this. Obviously, why is that? Because the double bond, the 2 electrons here will take part in this ring. They can be conjugated into the ring. Okay.
Yeah.
So these 2 electrons are not so available. The same logic that we saw earlier, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
As opposed to these two electrons are fairly well available. These 2 electrons are not so available because they
Yeah.
can be part of the delocalization in the ring itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, because you can do this and you can transfer everything, right?
Yeah.
Make a double bond here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's the same structure. So that is one reason. The other reason he's also giving is hybridization also, you can think. Okay, lone pairs with more p character, lone pairs with more p character are higher in energy because p orbitals are higher in energy.
Right, yeah.
Correct. So they are spending more time further away from the nucleus, higher in energy. So they are further away from the nucleus, right?
Yeah.
And therefore they're more basic, more available for donation, right?
Yeah.
Further away from nucleus. So more basic. And how do we know? How do we know which has more p character? Check the hybridization here. This is sp3 hybridized thing.
Right, yeah.
Correct. And this is what? This is sp2 hybridized thing, right?
Yeah.
Double bond here, there is no double bond here. sp2 hybridized, right?
Yeah.
Correct. So 2/3 and 3/4, no? P character.
Yeah.
Like this hybrid orbital's p character is what? 2/3.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
this hybrid orbital's p character is 3/4. No?
3/4,
So more p character are more basic. Oh yeah, that makes sense. We have already predicted that it is much stronger base,
Stronger
right?
base. Yeah, yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So there are
Yeah.
multiple explanations. You can also say that the electron pair is involved in some delocalization here, so it's less available, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Or you can talk about the lone pairs with more p character, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you should know both the things. Okay. Now amides he's talking about. Amides is RCONH2, and he again, delocalization is the reason for the acidity basicity of amides. Okay, so in the middle, the structure that he has drawn, RCONH2, you see that the lone pair on nitrogen is being shifted there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
Yeah.
getting a plus and a minus, right?
Hmm.
So since the electrons on this are delocalized, right?
Hmm.
The amides have pKa values of around 15 when they act as acids, making them much more acidic than amines, he's saying. Amides are much more acidic, but less. Okay. Okay, so slightly different. Amides are slightly different because delocalization is making a negative charge on the oxygen, right?
Yeah.
So protonation will occur on the oxygen rather than nitrogen. Okay. So
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
it accepts a proton, it will accept a proton on O minus rather than on NH2 plus here. Né?
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're accepting a proton on the nitrogen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
RCONH2 will actually not accept proton on nitrogen. It will become OH something here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So the pKa of the protonated amide is around 10, making them some 10 part 10 times weaker as bases. Protonated amide is which one? The OH one on this side, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So pKa for that is around 0. That means it is fairly strong acid, no?
Yeah.
You understand? If your pKa is 0, it's you are a very strong
Yeah.
acid.
Strong.
Yeah.
So that protonated amide is a very strong acid. So it will easily lose H plus
Lose
and
H,
become
yeah.
your normal amide, right?
Right.
So basically that means the conjugate base is a very weak base, right?
Yeah.
Right. So if you remember earlier, your pKa value for RNH2, right,
Hmm.
had come out to be, or for the conjugate acid, had come out to be around 4.8 or something, no?
Yeah.
No, 4.8 or 10. What had? Okay, actually, on the previous page, it says RNH2 pKa is minus 10, around 10, right? Yeah, around 10, he's saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, now for RCOH plus NH2, right?
Hmm.
This is the high protonated amide. The pKa is coming out to be almost 0, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that just tells you that this is a 10 power 10 times stronger acid than this, right?
Then,
Right, yeah.
So the conjugate base, right, which is RCONH2, will be
yeah.
10 power 10 times weaker base than RNH2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Makes sense. That is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's move on to the next section. You can read the last one or two reactions here, not a big deal. Then he talks about substituents that affect the pKa, right? So substituents that are conjugated with the site of proton gain or loss, or even substituents that are electronegative but not conjugating, can have significant effects on pKa values, right? So we have already basically discussed this, right? That if you have electronegative elements nearby, they will have inductive effects that will stabilize the anion, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in a phenol, if you add a nitro group somewhere, it will lower the pKa to 7.14 from around 10,
Yeah.
right? And if you keep putting more and more nitro groups, obviously it will become more and more strong acids, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, look at acetic acid, pKa is 4.6, fluoroacetic acid is 2.59, difluoro is 1.3 fluoro, and trifluoro is -1, right? So it is becoming stronger and stronger acids with the addition of a electronegative
Yeah.
atoms, right?
Mm.
So the lower example is about just inductive effect. The nitro group example is also about conjugation, right?
Yeah.
So if you have an O minus NO2 group, then O minus can donate its electron to the pair and make a double bond, and everything shifts, right?
Yeah.
And see the structure, the possible other structure has been shown here, where there's a double bond O, double bond N, right? And
Yeah.
single
Yeah.
bonds on the oxygens in the nitro group, right?
Yeah.
See how that transformation has happened, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that transformation is an example of conjugation helping to stabilize the anion, right? And the lower transformation, the lower thing where you have trifluoroacetic acid and all, right?
Yeah.
Their inductive effect is
Inductive.
stabilizing the anion,
Yeah.
right? So these are two different effects, but the point is the same, that if you have an electronegative group, or if you have a group that will help you in conjugation, that will increase the acidity, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because your anion is more stable.
Yeah.
Then we come to the carbon type acids. So carbon acids, he says that hydrocarbons are generally not acidic. Hydrocarbons are not acidic, so not so acidic. But as you go towards alkynes, right? So think about it in the same way. So from alkanes to alkynes to alkynes, right?
Yeah.
Suppose you have, okay, let's look at CH3, this is ethane to CH2 double bond CH2, and to finally ethyne, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the carbon atoms here have sp3, sp2 and sp character, right? The orbitals, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So as you go towards more p character, right? Which has more p character? Actually, this one has more p character.
SP3.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So sp3, this is more p character. So more p character means more basicity, right?
Right. Yeah.
More basic, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
So because the electrons are farther and farther away, right? From
Yeah.
the
Away from
nuclei,
nucleus.
right?
Yeah.
So more basic. So basically that means this is more acidic, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
This is more acidic. And so acidity is in this order, it increases like this, and basicity is in this order, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Now, so he's talking about that only. The difference is one of hybridization, an idea we introduced with the nitrogen bases above. Making the acetylide anion, whose negative charge resides in an sp orbital, is much easier than making a methyl anion whose negative charge is in an sp3 orbital. Okay. Because electrons in sp orbitals spend a lot of their time closer to the nucleus than electrons in the sp3 orbital, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So suppose you make a methyl anion, the electron will be in sp3, so it will be a little farther away from the nucleus, right?
Right. Yeah.
And to stabilize the anion, your nucleus should be as close as possible to the electron should be as close as possible to the nucleus, right? So CHC minus, this acetylide anion is better, right? Because that is in an sp hybridization orbital, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So then he's saying CH bonds can be even more acidic than those of acetylene if stabilization of the resulting anion is possible by conjugation. So for example, this compound, right? CHOCH3, right?
Yeah.
Acetaldehyde, right? Here, if you lose a H at the end, right? You have a negative charge, but that can be conjugated with that double bond CO, no?
Yeah.
Right? In that case, the acidity of this becomes higher than the acetylene, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, it's a matter of what factor is dominating, right? So generally, conjugation is more powerful than factors like p character of orbitals and so on, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have conjugation, that will have a more powerful effect on stabilization, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So now he's talking about it is interesting to compare the strengths of carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen acids of similar structure below. So similar structure, CH3CO, CH3. So acetone is there, and CH3CO NH2, right? And CH3COOH. Right? Okay. The more acidic one, the most acidic one is the CH3COOH carboxylic acid, right?
Yeah.
And ketone, the acetone, is of course least acidic. Now, why is it happening? See, why is it happening? Is that the oxyanion conjugate bases are all delocalized, but delocalization onto a second very electronegative oxygen atom is more effective than delocalization onto nitrogen. Okay.
Okay.
So what is he comparing right now? He's comparing the last two. So CH3CONH2 and CH3COOH.
Yeah.
Okay. He's comparing the last two and he's saying delocalization on another oxygen atom which is more electronegative is better, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Those two he's comparing. So what about the first one? The first one, if it loses O my H plus, it becomes minus. There is delocalization there also, but there is only one electronegative atom there, no?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You understand? Here at least ON is there, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Got
in
it.
the other one there is OO, right?
Right.
That is the difference. So instead of having one electronegative atom, the other two have two electronegative atoms, right?
Yeah.
So therefore they will be stronger anyway. And between these two, it is better to have OO and rather than ON,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now in the next page, he's talking about the nitro group is even more effective. So for example, nitromethane with a pKa of 10 dissolves in aqueous NaOH. Nitromethane. So nitromethane structure is what? CH3NO2, something like this, right?
Yeah.
Nitromethane, there is one H has been replaced by NO2, okay?
Yeah.
So that if you add OH minus in also NaOH, then H plus will be lost from there and you will get just NO2, right?
NO2.
Correct. NO2
Yeah.
C will also be there, no?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So actually CH2NO2, that compound you'll get, right?
Yeah.
So that double bond you see, the missing carbon is there, no, at the end, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it has become H plus has gone with the OH minus, right?
Yeah.
So now it became H2O there, right? H plus and OH minus became H2O. Now, since this double bond has been formed with carbon, okay, so you can see that the oxygens at the ends have partial negative charge, right?
Yeah.
So those can take away a proton again from the water, right?
Yeah.
And become OH again, OH
Yeah.
N
Yeah.
plus O minus. And oh, that is doing a proton transfer. See what is happening, very weird things. Finally, see, you start off with N double bond O and O, and there's a minus right here and the plus right here, and CH2H, right?
Yeah.
Plus OH minus from NaOH, you get N double bond. This double bond is going here, right? In this step. And the electrons from here are coming here, right?
Yeah.
So you are getting NO minus, O minus, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And plus on N. And you're getting a double bond CH2, right? Correct. Plus water, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now this O minus will attract an H plus from here, right? And it will become
Right.
OH, right? It becomes N plus OH, O minus, double bond CH2, right?
Yeah.
This is the enol form because there's an alcohol type of thing that has come, no?
Yeah.
And what he's saying is there can be a proton transfer that happens from here to here. So
Yeah. Yeah.
this H plus will come here and this will come here, this electron, right? This electron pair to form the bond with the H plus.
Bond. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you are left with 2 electrons here, so that can form a double bond, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll get N double bond O, O minus, and single bond CH3. That can happen. This is a slow process. This transfer of proton from oxygen to carbon can happen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what he's saying here is, whereas proton transfers between electronegative atoms, between two electronegative atoms, proton transfers are fast. Proton transfers to or from carbon can be slow. To carbon or from carbon. So this is an intramolecular proton transfer. No? H
Right.
has
Yeah.
to transfer from here to here, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is happening to or from carbon. So proton transfer to or from carbon is slow, while proton transfer between electronegative atoms is fast.
Yeah. Okay.
To and from carbon is slow. Okay. Okay. So now the next question is important. Why do we need to compare acid strengths of O and N acids, right? So the rates of nucleophilic addition to carbonyl groups that you met in chapter 6, right, depend on the basicity of the nucleophiles, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the stronger the base, the faster that nucleophilic addition will happen. Because instead of thinking of them as nucleophiles and electrophiles, you could also have thought of them as acid-base reactions
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
some extent, right? So as nitrogen bases are much stronger than oxygen bases, so basically we already saw that amines are more basic than alcohols, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So nitrogen bases are much stronger than oxygen bases. Therefore, amines are also much better nucleophiles than water or alcohols, right? Bases will be nucleophiles, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
accept a proton, or they want to be towards a positive charge, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
RNH2 is a stronger base than ROH or H2O, stronger base. So it is also a better nucleophile,
Okay.
right? So in
Yeah.
the nucleophilic addition reaction, so for example, this is dramatically illustrated in an amide synthesis from aniline and acetic anhydride in aqueous solution. Now aniline PHNH2, you are creating, using HCl, you are creating PHNH3 plus, right?
Yeah.
And you have AC2O. AC2O is what? Acetyl acetic anhydride in aqueous solution. So aniline is not very soluble in water, but addition of HCl converts. Okay, fine, that's fine. You get a cation PHNH3 plus. Now the solution is now warmed and equal amounts of acetic anhydride and aqueous sodium acetate is added. Okay, so acetic anhydride is AC2O and aqueous sodium acetate is added. So
Right.
sodium acetate is CH3COO-Na. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
so sodium acetate will give you CH3COO minus anion, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So okay, the pKa of acetic acid is about 5, as is the pKa of PHNH3 plus. So an equilibrium is set up, and now the solution contains these species, right? So one equilibrium is the PHNH3 plus to PHNH2, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus H plus, right?
Yeah.
The other equilibrium is between acetic acid and acetate ion, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
CH3COO minus plus H plus gives CH3COOH, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the third thing that is present in the solution, but it is not in any equilibrium, is the AC2O, right?
AC2.
AC2O is CH3COO, COCH3, right?
Yeah.
So the only electrophile is acetic anhydride. The only electrophile is acetic anhydride with its two electrophilic carbonyl groups. So there is a C double bond O, C double bond O, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Carbonyl groups are electrophiles, right? Because there is a
Right.
slight positive charge on the
Positive
C, right?
charge.
The nucleophiles available are what? This water is there, aniline is there, right?
Yeah.
And acetate is there, right?
Acetate.
Yeah.
ACO minus water, water can behave like both, and also aniline. Aniline is the base, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You cannot say that PHNH3 plus is the nucleophile, right? Obviously, PHNH2 will be the nucleophile, no?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Correct? So water is there in great abundance and does react with acetic anhydride, okay, but cannot compete with the other two as they are more basic, right?
Right, yeah.
Now PHNH2 is more basic than water, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Therefore, water will not be able to compete in terms of the speed of the reaction. It will not happen as much as PHNH2's reaction, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, the other ion ACO minus is also a strong nucleophile, but ACO minus, if it attacks AC2O, it will give back the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
ACO minus, if it attacks AC2O, no, it will give again AC2O plus ACO minus. Okay.
Yeah.
If
Right.
acetate attacks anhydride, it simply regenerates acetate. But if aniline attacks, the amide is formed as acetate is released. So see what is happening here. This base or nucleophile, which is PHNH2, it will give its 2 electrons on the nitrogen to the carbon that is deficient in electrons, right?
Electrons. Yeah.
Yeah.
And typical nucleophilic addition is happening there. O minus has formed, right? And PHNH2 has formed a bond with that carbon, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And eventually this O minus will form a double bond and this bond will break, right?
Breaks.
ACO minus will come out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. And then you can hydrate it and it will become OH and all,
Oh, yeah.
right? Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So the isolation of the product is easy as the amide. Finally, there is a double bond O, PHNH, double bond O, Me. How did Me come? Wait, methyl कहाँ से आ गया? Why? Oh, there was a carbon. No, there was no carbon there. I'm not sure about that Me part. How did Me come, dude? COO. So double PHNH2. ACO minus came out. That makes sense. Oh, there was a lower CH3 also that we have not talked about. Okay. Wait. Oh, okay. You understand where that Me is coming from? I understood. See, this was a CH3, no, here,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then PHNH2 attacked, right?
Right.
Right. Yeah.
NH2 PH, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Formed a bond here, no? So this
Mhm.
became O minus and this bond broke, right? And
Yeah,
there is a
yeah.
CH3 here, no? You understand? There's a carbon C here and also CH3 here, no?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then it becomes PH, NH, C double bond O, Me, right? Me is
Yeah.
CH.
Right. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Correct. It's a simple nucleophilic addition. There's no issues here. And
Hmm.
once you get O minus and all, you can hydrate it with water, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get pH, NH, COMe, and ACO minus will come out,
Yeah.
right? We'll see these reactions again in chapter 10. The next thing that is here is pKa in action, development of the drug cimetidine. So just go through that. This is just an application. So
Okay.
why is it important? So these 2 pages are going to explain how this drug is produced. It's an actual compound, okay? And
Mhm.
why pKa is important to know, and why it is important to understand which reaction will happen, how to make it, right?
Yeah.
The next chemistry class, what we'll start is chapter 9. So you should start reading that. Basically,
Right.
we'll be talking about organolithiums and making CC bonds. Organolithiums can be used to make CC bonds. Okay. So organometallics actually it can be Grignard reagents. And all. Okay. So that is important. After that, we'll come to one of the most important things, which is nucleophilic substitution. Soon there will be nucleophilic substitution and all, chapter 10. This organometallics will be chapter 9. So start reading chapter 9.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
the questions of chapter 8. Okay. There
Yeah.
is the other book, do the questions from chapter 8.
Okay. Yeah.
Because this acidity basicity, you should test yourself whether you're getting everything or not.
Yeah.
It seems like very easy stuff and all right now, but it will be important and quite tricky as you go along. Okay.
Yeah.
So right now, only make sure that you understand everything.
Hmm.
This month, we should be done till chapter 13. That is our target
Ah.
in organic, till chapter 13 in April. So
So
we
what
have to,
about the missed classes for chemistry?
we'll do extra classes, whatever.
Okay. Okay.
How many classes have been missed?
I think we missed 2 or 3
Yeah.
classes.
There was March till 12th. You didn't have classes because of some exams, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gitanjali exams. Yeah.
First 12 days of March.
Yeah.
So we have 2-3 classes that we'll cover up.
Yeah.
So in April, we'll have to do some extra classes for this. Physics and chemistry will generally be on Saturday and Sunday because no Alan, right?
No, Alan. Yeah.
Physics and chemistry will be on Saturday and Sunday. Normally, that is regular class. And Wednesday will be maths.
Yeah.
Okay. Next class
Okay,
for
so
us will
yeah.
be on Wednesday. But we might do extra classes for chemistry during the week once.
Equals.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll let you know. Okay. That's all for now then.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, sir.